Welcome back to another Spilldrop video. Today we are on the staging branch. Right now we're going to be looking at the new primitive update that should be coming out here with the first wipe in February to the best of my knowledge, and there's quite a lot of stuff to cover, so I'm just going to try to run through it here before my computer crashes inevitably. So let's get started. Right now what you're looking at is a weapon rack with all of the new weapons and back armor items that are being added. So these are shields which automatically deploy to your backpack slot, as you see here, when you're not equipping them. If you've got, say, the Mini-Crossbow in your hand, the shield pops up and you can use right click or whatever you've got bound there to deploy the shield. You'll notice that there is a stamina bar for the shield that goes down pretty quickly to kind of prevent people from shield spamming, which is pretty neat. Obviously, you've got the crossbow on the other side. There's no ADS while you've got the shield, so you're just gonna kind of have to wing it and hope that your shots hit. But that is how the shield mechanic is supposed to work for this primitive update, and that's that. All right. Put these back on the weapon rack like so. Along with this update, there will be a DLC armor skin added for the road sign kit, as you can see here. Quite bulky even on the ground, so you can see that it kind of takes up a good amount of space. Despawning those is going to be a lot of fun. The other items that have been added so far are this kind of crude wooden shield, which as a default blueprint does not need to be researched. They don't have it added to the crafting menu yet in terms of what it costs. You can see here in tier 1 we have the reinforced wooden shield. Temporarily we're looking at 1 road sign, 10 cloth, 200 wood for the crafting. That could change. The mini crossbow shows 200 wood, 150 metal frags, 1 rope, 1 gear. You can see the damage and fire rate down there. Also the shield compatible slot that's shown up down there as well, which is cool. Let's see. Sword is obviously shield compatible as you would expect. The siege tower is showing up down here. 500 wood, 100 frags, 2 gears. And over to tier 2, we've got the metal shield, which is going to be the top tier shield currently. 300 frags, 10 leather, 50 cloth. So that's in keeping with a lot of these other kind of tier 2 items. Also added to the tier 2, you see we've got the Battering Ram, which is another siege weapon, 500 wood, 4 sheet metal, 1 tarp. Both of the Ballista options slightly below the Battering Ram, which I actually thought would be more tier 1. From what I've seen, the mounted Ballista doesn't really give you that much of an advantage compared to the regular Ballista, the stationary. Then below the Ballista we have the Catapult, 500 wood, 20 high qual, 2 rope, and 2 gears. There's also some ammunition for all of these, so the pitchfork bolt, which is going to be anti-personnel. We've got the piercer bolt, which is going to be anti-armor. The incendiary, which is going to be anti-personnel, anti-wood, maybe light anti-armor as well. And then the hammerhead bolt, which is going to be primarily a raiding device from what I can tell. For the catapult itself, there's 3 new types of ammo as well. The scatter shot, which is a cluster of rocks, mostly anti-personnel. These do almost no damage at all to walls. The firebomb, which is going to be mostly anti-wood. It doesn't do very much damage to stone, but also quite good for area denial type tactics. And then the propane explosive bomb, which is an explosive projectile, pretty effective against walls, very effective against people, as you can see, and pretty neat. As this thing explodes, some of these containers will come off and then explode with like a secondary pop. Do a little bit of damage, not a ton, but definitely something to watch out for. And then I believe that is everything else that has been added to the tech tree so far. The last skin that we didn't really cover is this medieval assault rifle, which I believe is going to be part of the DLC with that armor that we were seeing. Pretty interesting looking model for this. A very refined looking skin. It looks quite a bit more like an AK than any of the other models that we currently have available, which is really nice if that's something you're looking for, a little bit more realism. There is one other skin that's being added to that DLC pack. It is this reskin of the reinforced wooden barricade, which I think is also getting some adjustments in terms of its general cost. So didn't want to forget that, but definitely something to look forward to with the update. Looking at some of these siege devices, which we were talking about there for a minute, the movable siege weapons, the ones that are not stationary, do need to be built. So you'll learn the blueprint for them, then you'll put down these little foundations basically for them, and then you'll take a hammer and you'll build them up. So you just go ahead and add your resources to them. You see it tracks down there below. Now, all of these come basically prefabricated once you hammered them all down, except for the siege tower. There's something really interesting about this one that I didn't realize at first, is that you can add to it. Spawn a door in here, walk right on up, and you can place a door in this frame. So that helps reinforce the siege tower, provide a little bit of extra support and defense. There's a ladder here that you can climb up, take you up to the next floor. The first floor you climb up has a floor that you can drop down here as well. So this will let you down. Jump up to the second floor, same situation here. Another floor that you can use to climb out and over walls or just to attack from. These can also be retracted as necessary. And then all the way up top, you have the final floor. This one drops down. You can kind of see through this one a little bit more easily. All around a very, very cool deployable item here that you can add to your arsenal for raiding. I think truly one of the coolest things that's been added to Rust in a long time. Scaling down slightly, we've got this guy here, which is our battering ram. You can pop in here, you can close this back door up, kind of give yourself a little bit more protection. Got pretty good angles all the way around with these windows on the sides. And then up top, the battering ram appears to just be the mounted arm of an excavator with a bucket on the front, which is awesome. If you got some low grade, you're just going to want to pop it in here. You'll jump in, turn it on, and then to activate the ram, you're going to look at this green light and hit E, and that's going to go ahead and set off the arm. Pretty neat. And this thing does drive around pretty nicely, so it's got similar controls to like the standard excavator that you'll find at Junkyard. Not quite as difficult to drive as that vehicle, but still pretty similar. The catapult, you can reload from the back. Ammo gets loaded in here into that slot, one of those three types that we showed, or there's the option to load a human into this, which I think, yeah, you can just mount yourself like so, and then it'll launch you if you want. You also have the option to aim this thing more specifically. If you hold E on the wheel, especially if you get that pull option, it will let you kind of slightly adjust it by dragging the vehicle around. This is a little bit better than the push mechanism that you normally get for like the boats or the cars. So definitely a cool addition to the movement options for these vehicles. And the last vehicle we've got here is the mounted Ballista. It's got a pretty limited range of fire. Verticality is pretty limited. You can go side to side. You do kind of have to really scroll. Now the last one we've got here that I haven't put down is the stationary Ballista. So we'll go ahead and get this guy set up here on the corner. As you can see, basically exactly the same as the mounted Ballista, except this guy has a much better range. So you can look pretty high up, pretty low down, and side to side is still a little tough. You may want to mess around with your sensitivity a little bit if you want to go quicker. But yeah, so that's how everything works. In terms of the raiding effectiveness of all of these, the two most effective at raiding are going to be the battering ram and the catapult. The Ballista's okay, it's not bad, and if you had a couple of these, you could definitely do some really good damage. But the catapult and the battering ram are really designed for that up close sieging. The range on the catapult is not massive, like it's not gonna be sniping people from across the map, but within about 10 squares, this thing is pretty effective. Toss that in there. Alright, once you've got it loaded up, you can even jump up here and see the ammo in there, so that might give your opponents a little bit of an idea of what's in store for them. Then you go over here, hit E on the firing pin, and it will launch. And as you can see, that's a pretty good range. 10 squares I think is a pretty accurate assessment, maybe a little bit further. The issue, of course, is that the arc is not great, so you'll want to get it set up on like a hill where you can kind of get that better angle, or you want it really close to whatever it is that you're raiding. And the battering ram, the one thing I will say about it, while it is really effective at hammering through walls, the head of the battering ram does break down quite quickly. So if we put a wall in front of the battering ram, let's just set it to stone. We'll go ahead and hit the wall a couple of times. Alright, so that's just 3 impacts. The wall's down 150 health already, which is pretty awesome. And the ram itself is down 60 health. So that gives you an idea of how fast it goes. Go ahead and give it a couple more. Eight hits. 9 hits. All right, as you can see, the bucket is in pretty bad shape right now. It's starting to look a little bit sad. You get this alert here that says that the arm is broken. So when that happens, you got to pop in here and you've got to repair the bucket. It uses quite a lot of high qual to repair that, so that gets expensive. But there you have it. 10 hits, breaks the wall. 9 hits, breaks the bucket. So make sure you're ready and have some guys in here to repair that. And one thing you will notice about the battering ram that's kind of interesting, I don't know how likely this is to be a permanent feature, but it seems that the actual back of the thing can fall off. You can repair it, but I haven't done a lot of testing as to how exactly that happens. You can park a motorcycle inside the battering ram, no problem at all. You can drive it right out the front, no problem either. With the motorbike inside of the battering ram does move around pretty easily. You'll see that the bike kind of jostles around inside the battering ram like it's not really supposed to be there, but it's still intact. I'm not seeing that it's taken any damage either, so that's good. So it's not likely to blow up on you. Should be able to hit that thing with the catapult, I reckon. Alright, I'm gonna aim this bad boy. Load the catapult with the incendiary rounds. Crank this bad boy down. I'm gonna steer it just a little bit more. Boom! Direct hit. Let's take a look here. So in the water, it's not taking much damage. That just goes to show you can aim, you can hit even a small target like the motorcycle. It does take a little bit of doing, but it is doable. If you have any more questions for me about this update, or if there's anything else you want to see when this is fully released to the official game, let me know, because I'd love to experiment with this a little bit more and try some new stuff. So that's all I've got for you today. If you want to see more staging branch content like this, stuff that's pre-release, let me know down in the comments. Give this video a like, share it with your friends. That kind of stuff is what lets me know what you guys want to see. This has been your friend Spilldrop, and I will catch you in the next video.